probably the most shocking result of the weekend was the Jacksonville Jaguars just kind of stomping the Broncos in Denver to announce themselves as a real Super Bowl threat. We've all seen the Jaguars getting better. We've all noticed how Lawrence has been performing in the past few weeks, but I don't think anyone really had it on their radar that they could make a run until this game. I don't think everybody would have been shocked if Jacksonville won this game. We could see a scenario where that happens, especially as good as Denver's been. They've been on like the 11, 12-game win streak or whatever it was. I mean, they haven't lost like since week 3. So it's not going to surprise you if a team slips up and loses against another, playoff team. But in the way that Denver lost is what was shocking. I don't think it's a huge indictment on Denver. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're still a very strong contender, especially with that defense. Bo Nix just continues to play better, really. The story is the Jacksonville Jaguars and how they've just continued to put the season together. And they're doing that thing that, frankly, you see a lot of championship teams do, where they just get better week after week. They just start to improve and they start to believe and play with a different sort of ferocity that you don't usually expect from that team. And they all believe in that building. And now the rest of the world is seeing that they're a threat you can't take lightly. Liam Coen has unlocked Trevor Lawrence in the way we've all been waiting for. We're starting to see the Trevor Lawrence that all of the draft analysts, all of the, scouts, everybody thought we would see. This is the unanimous number 1 overall pick that we expected. Obviously, the rookie season was a disaster with Urban Meyer. We can put that behind him. You can't blame any of that on him. But his second season was really good. He looked good that season. And then since then, it's just been decline. And there were moments where he wondered, even when they gave him the contract, was that a mistake? Is he the guy? What can you get out of him? Can you get consistent playoff runs? Or was that second year just a blip in an otherwise lackluster career? Liam Coen is proving that's not the case. Over the last 4 games, Trevor Lawrence is top of the list in almost every category. So over the last 4 weeks, he's got over 1,000 yards. That's 5th in the league. He's got 12 touchdowns. That's 1st in the league. No interceptions. 1st in the league. And a 120.8 passer rating, which is also best in the league. And I know it's like a specific sample size I'm picking, but that's just kind of when I feel like he's started to turn it on. So since he's been really elevating his play, that's 4 weeks in a row of playing like one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. Some of that against subpar competition. Sure, I don't ever give the bad competition argument in the NFL. I think you can do that in college. These are all NFL teams. They're very good players on all of them. But to go and do it against Denver in this game and have this kind of performance and just lead the team to a relatively comfortable victory. I mean, obviously it was tight for a while, but once it got into the fourth quarter, it felt like the Jaguars were going to hang on and just beat Denver. That's what it felt like, and that's what they did. Not only, as I said earlier, did they beat them, it's just the emphatic way in which they did so. If you don't mind, please subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on a video. We're talking the NFL all season long. Back to the video. Denver's other 2 losses this season were by a combined 4 points. Jacksonville beat them by 14. I mean, that's an exclamation point, especially when you do it against a team who has one of, if not the best defenses in the NFL, who has a quarterback who's been starting to get hot, who has an offensive coach who's won a Super Bowl. Denver's been really, and Sean Payton has been talking shit all year, talked shit all offseason, started talking shit this year, and has backed it up. And then Jacksonville comes into their building. You feel like, if anything, this is going to be a moment where Jacksonville gets overwhelmed by the crowd noise. It's too big of a moment. Maybe they've got too much on them. And they just handle it in a way you have not seen the Jaguars do in a very, very long time. They were ready for the moment. They caught Denver sleeping, and they took the fight to them. And credit goes to the head coach, because there's been a lot of talk about Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel. They've gotten all of the love when it comes to like coach of the year and what they've done, turning around their teams. And rightfully so, they do deserve that. But we're, up till this point, we've really been sleeping on Liam Coen. We've acknowledged that he's done a good job, but how good of a job hasn't really been clear to us until this week, because it's, like I said, an emphatic performance. It really, I'm not trying to overstate it, it might be the most impressive performance I've seen this year from any team. Part of that is due to the, low expectations you have for the Jaguars, even though they're a playoff team, even though they're a threat. You just don't expect them to go into Mile High against this defense, against the, probable number 1 seed in the AFC and win like that and, put their foot down and say, we came to play too. This is our season. We're here. And Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback, and he's as good as any of you guys, as good as any quarterback in the league. Statistically, over the past few weeks, you can't argue with that. They are starting to believe. The team is. They're starting to get hot at the right time. The question kind of is, will Trevor Lawrence continue to sustain this level of play? Now, I don't think it's entirely on him. Obviously, bringing in Jacoby Myers has been huge. That's elevated them. The run game's been solid. Liam Coen's committed to it. ETN's getting plenty of touches. Coen just has a smart game plan, a smart scheme. You can see why he had the success with Baker Mayfield. He's a very good head football coach. And we're a long way away from that press conference when he was hired with the awkward Duval thing, and we were all laughing at him. Now, we know better by now not to take press conferences too seriously. Dan Campbell taught us that. But I don't think any of us expected them to be this good and to ever all season have a performance like this. Because even when they beat the Chiefs earlier in the year, before the Chiefs fell apart and we found out what they were, that was kind of a fluky game where they needed a 99-yard interception return. This was not that. They went in there, they took over, and at this point, considering how wide open the year is, they're a Super Bowl threat because it's not a small sample size. 4 weeks is enough. If they finish out the season strong, they're going to be as red hot as anybody. And do not doubt on this team because I think they could go all the way, as most of the teams could. But this is a huge statement win from the Jaguars.